Greetings YouTube, welcome back to my sketchbooks. This is the second sketchbook in this series, and it has, remember, pillage first, then burn. So here we're going to go with the first page, and this book actually has fewer pages in it, so it should take a little less time and fewer videos to do. So first off, we have a great spear, or maybe even a double-edged naginata. It depends on how you want to look at it. Something that, if you're going to look at the spear, kind of almost like the type of thing that was been used by the Maasai. Here you have a crystal wand with wings. Yes, it's kind of silly. I was filling in a request for someone, request, and that's what they wanted, so that's what I gave them. Pardon me, I'm having to move something behind me. So here we have some pole arms. Well, actually, this was just a staff kind of thing. It had an edge, but it was mostly just to look pretty. Here we have a fanciful trident of some variety. Fanciful trident. And here we have a very fancy trident with a very kind of almost absurdly silly blade. Yes, not all of my designs were the best. Here we have a two-handed stone axe, which was a request for someone who was playing a troll of some variety, I believe. Here we have a double-bitted ergosh, essentially a double-bitted battle axe with a point here at the end, and it was kind of doing the infinity symbol. It wouldn't work, but it was visually interesting. And this is also another silly design that would not work. But I was looking at this kind of accordion design somewhere, and I thought, yeah, maybe I can adapt that to a weapon. And I guess in theory I did. I don't think it looks very sensible. Here we have a design that I happen to really like. There's a gap here showing you that the whole shaft is not being depicted. There's a butt cap which is also a counterweight. But I really liked this design. I think I did a good job with this one. It is a really nice boar spear or wolf spear, and I think I did a good job on that one. Also very useful when fighting some varieties of monsters, which you don't want headed towards you. Here we have a large battle axe, and this is just too long. This blade should have been shortened in. I should have brought that into about here. It's just too big. With that vaguely skull look, that was intentional, but didn't like that one. Now, this one, however, I really did like. I think this one came out well. I kind of like the almost spade-like shape here, and echoed in the end piece, and nice broad blade. Though I think I should probably maybe put some cutouts in there to lighten it up a little. And this would have been an all-metal tubular steel shaft, and I really like the contrast between the convex and the concave curves on this. I believe I might have done this as an illustration for someone for someone's particular weapon they were carrying in a campaign in the past. Here we have some designs, and I apparently was in kind of a theme here today. So these are all throwing steels of some variety. This one has 2 bane points and 2 side blades. This one got 3 points, and this one has 2 points, and all with a very kind of a similar vibe to them. I probably did these all within the same day or so. And that was back in what? July of '03. Oh, so long ago. Here we have a very silly sword, again going for the fantasy trope, and kind of a sword-axe fusion, again going for the fantasy trope. This is a very silly hilt, makes no sense whatsoever, but you know, can't win them all. Here we have a request, because the person wanted a sword that the grip had the shape of a feather. So the grip actually has a spine down the center and has the striation, so it looks like it's made out of a feather. It's not made of a feather. And it was for an elven character that the person was playing, and they were looking for a flat. Because originally I had done this, and it had just a bevel line down the center. It was just 2 bevels, and they wanted it to be flat. They wanted to have a kind of a Chinese look to it. So I actually, interestingly, I scanned it, erased that, and replaced it. So there is somewhere out there in my collection on my DeviantArt page, there is a version of this, I think, that has the spine, which doesn't even exist anymore. The sketch doesn't exist anymore. It only exists in a digital form. Here we have another kind of a wolf spear, but just on a bigger scale. I don't know why I did it this way. but I did it this way. I was looking for some visual appeal. And here is another silly two-pronged sword weapon with some weird, freaky flower themes in here, kind of going for an organic aesthetic of some variety. Here we have a sword, which is just a fairly standard sword, nothing special. I don't know what this is in there supposed to be, but it's in there. The rest of it's functional. If that wasn't there, it would just be a fairly functional one-handed sword. Here we have more of a lighter sword, and this has got, again, the twin blades, which are absurdly long. That would make no sense. It wouldn't work whatsoever, but I think that might have been a request. And here we have a lightning bolt dagger, which is obviously a magic item, because no dagger like that, no blade like that would ever actually function in the real world. Here we have a one-handed knife. It has a large curve which goes downward, and this faces the forward, so this is the grip, so you're holding it like this, so the main blade is going across your knuckle like that, and the other is here. Visually interesting. That's probably too thin, but I don't know. And here we have a spearhead, which I wanted to do a kind of a scalloped vibe going for that, and I think I succeeded at this. I really did. I think it was interesting. I don't know why I put two holes in here. Put two holes in there, which I guess you could have tied things to, but I didn't. But I kind of like that. I think it would make an interesting wound channel at least. And here we have a very pointy, angular, kind of a rectilinear trident of some variety. Again, just a design idea that, frankly, I don't think really worked all that well. Here we have another throwing steel, and again, design idea, not well executed. Here we have a double weapon, a battle staff, so it has this large blade with a hook on the end and a smaller blade down here. Shaft, the full length of the shaft is not depicted, that's why there's a break there. And again, it's got the rings in the back to make noise to scare away evil spirits. I kind of see that in a fantasy game, you know, maybe something used by orcs or something like that. That might work. Here we have another heavy two-handed axe with a kind of a barbarian theme in it. Literally, it looks like a mohawk. I think it was it's too thick, it's too big. I should have brought the scale down, but it wasn't a horrible idea. But the headband thing, that was a miss. Here we have a kind of a double-pointed sword, which is got a vaguely kind of almost an organic vibe to it. I believe this was a request someone asked me to fill. The eye in the middle and the whole 9 yards, but it's a little silly. But it looks like something you find in a fantasy game. Those are blank pages. That's a blank page. More blank pages. Alrighty. And so here we have a dagger with a kind of an absurd barbed kind of look in here. I don't know what I was going for, though I do kind of like the handle. I know I've used this type of handle in the past, and I think the handle is kind of cool, but the rest of the knife is kind of silly. And next to it is a flame-themed knife, which is also kind of silly. Though it looks like something you'd see in a cheap knife catalog somewhere, doesn't it? Here we have a one-handed mace, which is a dragon theme. And again, I know I'm really bad at organic things. You don't have to tell me that. Here we have a hand blade, which again, kind of a vaguely Chinese martial art vibe going on there. Slashing in here. It's all about motion like this and cutting individuals with it. Here we go with a one-handed sword. I don't think I did horribly on that one. It kind of looks like it actually might work, though I didn't get the scallops on that perfectly. Even that one looks better. This one over here on the right looks better than the one on the left. And this is a very broad, dwarven dagger, kind of based on a real-world smatchet. I thought that's something that I could see a dwarf using. Again, a throwing steel, it's too thin, but it's not necessarily a horrible concept. If I'd made it thicker and maybe made the curves less severe, I think it would have been usable, but that's what I did. And here we have a science fiction themed kind of a rapier, very, very pointy, not much edge, probably almost diamond shaped at the tip, with a guard and secondary points. This is the kind of thing you'd find in a role-playing game of some variety. Not perfect, but I kind of like the vibe overall.